Hello folks, and welcome to the channel, or welcome back. And in this episode we go into powder coat some car parts. Powder coating is something we can all do. It's not very complicated and it's not expensive and it's extremely fast. So in this video we're going to look at the tools you're going to need, the different products, the preparation and the actual powder coating itself. So you probably wonder why I'm showing this race car. Well, there's a good reason for that. Because we're going to powder coat a part that will fit onto this race car. You might have seen the video where I crashed this race car in Croix-en-Ternois last year. And we really screwed up the front suspension. The whiz bones are bent, so I need to replace it. And it's not fixed yet. I already have a different rim available, so we can put that on. But that's about the only thing so far. The whiz bones are bent, so that's what I need to fix. And here is my old rim. As you can see, that was badly damaged, so really not a good thing to keep. I was looking around to get the proper tubes to create new whiz bones. And here we have a whiz bone. And as you can see, these are a flat type of tubes. Very hard to get, so I had to make some. But luckily for me, I came across a picture on Facebook of a guy called Joachim W. who had restored a Koenig race car. So he showed this picture and I said, wow, that looks nice, and if you have an address for spare parts, I would like to know, because I'm going to need some new whiz bones for my car, unless I would build them myself, of course. And he replied back, oh, Steve, by the way, I got the whole set of them, and here they are, a whole bunch of them. I'm not going to show them all to you, but this is basically the pile he has given me. So he said, like, Steve, you can have those for free. And I said, oh, well, this is really great. I mean, this is so nice. And I said, well, I don't want them for free. So I paid him some money, and 2 days later, guess what? I got them in the mail. So Joachim, thank you so much for this. It's amazing how we as autosport freaks can help each other. And that's the beauty on our hobby, right? So anyway, but these whiz bones, they have been painted before, but mine are really powder coated. So what we're going to do with these whiz bones is we're going to powder coat them with a fresh coat of a polymer powder, which is going to be shiny and black, and then we can install it on the race car. I might actually do a couple of them, so you can actually see how they would look like once they are done. Now you can see that these whiz bones are still in a fairly good condition, although the paint is getting off. There's a little bit of rust here and there, like on this one, really surface rust. But that's the kind of stuff we're now going to take care of. You will need an oven to cure the powder. And I'm using an old restaurant oven that I could pick up for a very cheap price. And the only reason that I went for that is because it's big. I have a huge oven inside, and so I can even put a rim inside. If the oven is smaller, then of course you can't put a rim in, but that might be okay. It all depends on what kind of a part you want to cure. The oven should be able to go up to about 180 to about 280 degrees centigrade. That depends on the powder you're going to use. And it's going to be in there for X amount of time, again, depending on the size of the part that you are actually powder coating. But you'll see that very soon on the video, how fast the powder actually is going to cure. In fact, it's going to melt and it's going to get a gloss, and then you're almost at the end of that curing process. Now, if you don't have a big oven like the one that I have from the restaurant, then you can also use the oven in your kitchen. But I don't think your wife will be too thrilled about it, but it works. So if she doesn't mind, by all means, go ahead and use that oven, because it does work. You will also need a powder coating gun, and you need powder, and that's basically it. That's all you're going to need to do the job. So let's have a look on the powder coating guns that you can get as a hobbyist or do-it-yourself guy. I'm not talking about the big professional systems, that's a different story. But you can get, in essence, two types of powder coating guns. It's the Corona type and it's the Tribo type. What I have right here is the Tribo type. Very good system, and you will see it in action. Let me show it to you what it is. And then we actually will talk about the powders. And here is that specific powder gun. Both the Corona and the Tribo are working on the principle of electromagnetic charges on the powder particles. So the part that you're going to spray with is going to be charged. Typically it's grounded. And the parts that are coming out of the spray gun are actually charged by this nylon tube here, which is a Tribo system. So when the particles of powder coating, which are sitting on top, are flying through the nozzle here, they're getting electrically charged. And then the part that you are actually powder coating is connected with a clip to the ground. And thereby the particles of powder are flying towards the part, they are attracted to the part, and they settle on the part. And they settle very well. They give a pretty good coating. So both systems are doing exactly the same, with one difference, that the Corona system is using a high voltage generator to charge the particles. And that is not going to work on parts that are not conductive. So if you have a plastic part or a ceramic part, you cannot use a Corona system for powder coating. However, with the Tribo system, which is this one right here, you can, even non-conducting surfaces, you can even powder coat, which is really a good thing. So let me give you a little bit of a close-up on this tool here, and then we get into the powder. You have your containers where you put the powder in, and there's still some powder in this one, as you can see. You got to make sure the powder stays really dry. There is, of course, a funnel to fill that up, and that all comes as part of the kit. So you can just put it in and then pour the powder into it. Then we have our ground lead. Now there's a power plug on this one. Now don't think that this is going to take power from the power outlet, but it has a ground pin on it, and the ground is important. So if you put it to a socket in your house or your garage or your workshop, make sure that the socket is really grounded, because otherwise this is not going to work. The other side of the wire is connected actually to the part itself, and then we have a small connector which we are feeding towards the paint gun itself to prevent electrostatic discharges onto the operator. And then we have the actual gun itself, and let me focus a bit more on that. We've got a water separator, because you want to make sure that the air that comes in is dry, and if your air isn't dry, then it will do some more separation here for sure. That's going to help. We also have a regulator where we can regulate the pressure, and this is a high volume low pressure gun, so you don't need a lot of pressure. Probably about half a kilogram to 1 kilogram is more than enough. Then on the top here we're going to connect our bottle with the powder inside, and of course we don't turn it upside down like this, but we would actually do it like this so the powder doesn't fall out. And then the final part is the nozzle here, right? This is the nozzle, which is important. You can take the nozzle off. Let me turn it off. And inside we have like a little guide. I don't know if you can see it, but there's like a channel inside. This is where the powder will fly through, and this is how the powder really is getting charged up. So there is not much more to it. The other thing you will need is, of course, the powder, and the powder typically comes in bags like this, and it will specify what type it is, if it's for outside use, indoor use, what is the drying time or what is the curing time, what is the temperature you're going to need. So it depends on what you really want to have. Now I'm going to use shiny black outdoor polymer powder, which is nice and strong at the end. I used it before, so that to me will fit my purpose. But again, maybe in your case you want to use something else. Typically the powder comes as a epoxy or a polymer or a polyester type, different types, but you need to look on the specific websites what the specs are and what you like to use. So let's add a bit of powder. Oops. You can see this is very fine and black. So that's it for that stuff. We don't need to talk more about this. The next thing we're going to do is to clean up the pieces, because the pieces have to be really clean before you powder coat it. So let's go and do that. And then we start powder coating and baking it. The next thing up is cleaning the parts. Now this part has some paint on it. You can rub it off with abrasive paper, you can shot blast it, whatever you do, but try to get it to the bare metal. I'm going to shot blast it because that's the best surface I found to powder coat it afterwards, because it's a little bit corrosive and it tends to stick better. Once it's cleaned up, you need to degrease it. So let's shot blast it. So I'm going to shot blast this and we'll see. I'm preheating the oven to about 230 degrees centigrade in this case. So it just started, so we are at 83, 84, it's building up. So now it's time to powder coat the piece and then we put it inside. So I shot blasted all the pieces, and as you can see, they are very clean. It's also a good time to verify that the welding is still nice, that there are no cracks on anything. So these wishbones are looking quite all right. We're going to degrease it. And also notice that I have placed bolts into the areas where we have threads inside, because I don't want to have the powder getting into those openings. I also attached the hook, so let's degrease it and then we are ready to powder coat it. It's like they say, good results all depend on the preparation work. The better you prepare things, the better the end result will be. Now if you're going to powder coat, make sure you wear a mask. You know, you have a boot with a lot of abstraction over here, then that's fine too, because it's pretty fine stuff. So we are about ready. Let's hook up our powder coating gun and we can start. So I will clip the ground clip onto the part. We're going to hook up the ground as well to the body of the gun. Done. This ground is the one that prevents you from getting static shocks. And we are connecting our ground plug to the mains. But remember, this does not connect to the mains, it just provides a proper ground. It's recommended to degas the part before you actually apply the powder coat on it. And when we say degas, it means getting all the humidity out of it. So you put it shortly in an oven and you let it warm up, and then once it has cooled down a bit again to room temperature, you take it out and then you're ready to put the powder on. Otherwise, you may have some moisture trapped into it. And we are about ready. We just need to hook up the air pressure, and you don't need a lot of pressure. I'm going to set this, hopefully you can see it, to about 1670 psi. That's all you're going to need. You can see that the powder really nicely attaches to the part, right? As you can see, we got the part in the oven and now it's heating up. And it's probably going to take about 15 to 20 minutes before it's ready. So let's check back in about 15 minutes. While we're waiting for the part in the oven, I might as well have a piece of chocolate. Nice German chocolate, by the way. Thanks Joachim for this, because when I opened up the package that came through the mail with the wishbones from Joachim, I found this little nice surprise. A nice piece of German chocolate. So I'm going to enjoy it. So the oven is up and running at 240 degrees centigrade. And I think the part is getting pretty close to being ready. I'll probably leave it in for another 3-4 minutes. So let's have a look on the part itself. But you see the big bolt on the bottom there? That's a big piece of metal. If that one is becoming shiny, then I know everything has been heated up enough and it should be about ready. So let's open the door and have a look. And the part already looks really nice and shiny. So I'm not going to let it cool down and then we take it out and take a closer look. That should be ready by now, so let's take it out of the oven. Let's see how hot it is. That's all right. And here it is. Here it is, all nice and shiny. So I'll let you be the judge on that, but that looks really good and clean. So we're going to get the bolt out and then we're going to go for the next one. You can already see that this stuff is pretty hard, the chips that come off on the bolt. This is one of the bolts that was on the wishbone that stopped powder going into the threaded areas. I did not clean it, but you can see already I really need to scratch hard with this thing to get something off. And this is just powder coating on a bolt which was not sanded down, which was not cleaned up. And here you have it, guys, all the parts for the wishbones that are now powder coated, and I think they're looking pretty good. So folks, we've come to the end of this video, and as you have seen, powder coating is very simple. Everybody can do it at home. Just get a decent powder coating gun. It runs you about 300 euros. It's not the end of the world. If you have an air compressor, you're basically set. Clean the part as much as you can, take all the old paint off, degrease it, then degas it in an oven so you get all the humidity out. And then you can actually powder coat it. And once that is done, you put it back in the oven at about 200 degrees centigrade, depending on the powder, of course. Let it in there for 15 to 20 minutes and you're all set. So, I hope that you enjoyed it and I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.